You can actually get some of the best armor and weapons very early on and for absolutely free in Dragon's Dogma 2. And in this video, I'm going to show you some of my favorite sets that you should definitely go ahead and get right away. And some of them are actually on the main path from the starting zone, but are completely missable if you're not paying attention. So let's get started with the first one, which is this awesome looking sort of wolf armor set that I used on my Theif, but it can work on Rangers too, and some of the pieces on it can literally go for any of the available vocations. So starting with the most accessible, we have the Lupine Cape, which you will find in a random chest right here by this tent, very close to the Nameless Village. It's between the Nameless Village and Vernworth, a little bit up north from that location. This is a place which you can visit by going down from the starting zone if you choose to go with the path on to the right side. Close to this one, you can find the second item, which is the Prowler Kerchief. It's also available for all of the classes, and it's actually inside of a house right here on this side of the map. Normally, as you would make your way to the Nameless Village, you will encounter this house over here on the other side of the river. There are some enemies you have to clear, and inside you will find the chest containing the item. Now, for the wolf head, unfortunately, I don't have a location to get this for free. I do have one for the vendor that sells it. However, in the meantime, I do have an alternative, which is the Elysian Oxhide Hood. And this is actually pretty close to Vernworth, right here northwest of it, very close to another campsite. You're going to reach here with a bunch of houses, and you're going to want to head over right here to this one in the middle in front of the bonfire. Defeat the enemy inside, and to your left you will find another chest which will contain this pretty awesome but also gimpish looking sort of hood. It can definitely be a pretty solid replacement as the stats are not that different. Now, if you want a pair of pants that's not exclusive completely to the Theif, you can get the Naped Leather Boots. You will find them again in one of these houses right here on the main path to the right from the starting zone, not too far away from, again, the Nameless Village. So it's going to be inside the only house in the area. Be careful because there are some enemies, but the chest containing it is right here to the right side of the entrance. Simply get it, and again, this is going to be accessible to all of the classes in the game. Now, if you want some strong early on weapons and some extra gear for the Theif, I already covered that in a previous video and how strong it is. I heavily encourage you to head over to the Nameless Village. So I recommend also doing this during the mission called Nameless Village that you get from Vernworth. There's a main character out there that eventually will give this to you if you just follow it. It's also very early on. And there are two reasons why you want to head over here anyway. So one of the main reasons is that one of those vendors that sell the lupine gear can be found right here in the middle of the village. So like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the Howling Hood, but you can buy it for just like under 4,000 gold very easily and very fast. Most of the items, in fact, that are sold by vendors do actually exist in the open world. However, you do have to find them, and so far I only found like 80% of the ones that I'm showing you, so some of them are going to be from vendors. But if you follow that mission in the area, like I said, it's going to bring you to some of these skill maesters that will also teach you some of the best abilities for the Theif. But if you then complete the entire mission by going to the back of the manor and descending over here, finding the hidden layer, eventually you're going to reach this area with another Master Thief, which eventually also gives you another skill, but also opens up the path ahead. And here is where you will get the Pelt Flayers, a very strong set of daggers that you can equip on the Thief. They deal some pretty solid damage and are some of the best until a bit later on. Plus, if you open the other chest, you're going to get a second item, which is going to be the Thief Gaiters, a pretty awesome looking set of pants that are a little bit better than the naped ones that we just got earlier. But if you want a heavy armor set, you can get one very early as soon as you reach Vernworth. Actually, you can get two of the same armor so that you can equip them on two of your characters. So there are two ways in which you can acquire this. The most straightforward is to just follow the main quest for Brent, which eventually will open up a couple of extra quests, including Disa's Plot and the Caged Magistrate. So if you follow either of these, if you go during the nighttime in the Noble District right here on this side of the map, eventually you're going to reach this entrance and somebody will guide you to a nearby tower with, of course, that armor set inside. So simply follow that NPC up until you reach the side of the tower. They will let you go in, and inside you're going to find this chest right here, which contains the full armor set minus the cape, but for now it's going to be enough. And this can even let you, for example, infiltrate in this zone without being alerted by guards. So it's very easy, plus it looks really awesome. It's also a heavy armor, but it can be equipped by literally any character in the game. Now, if you want the variant that also has the cape plus a secondary one just for a different character, what you can do is simply head over right here to the Vernworth Castle Gowl Tower. So this is a place you have to follow anyway because there's a quest bringing you here, but I suggest paying attention to this well with the stairs leading right in the underground. If you head over right here, you're going to find another chest at the back of this cave. And inside of it, you're going to find another full-on Marcher's set, but this time around, it also dropped with the cape for me, or the cloak. This is something that you normally get via the main story mission a bit later. So it looks really awesome in my opinion, very good for a warrior, very good for a fighter, but like I said, it has no vocation restriction, so early on, it can definitely help. Since this is most appropriate for a fighter, I do have some extra 2 options in terms of weapons. One of them is this awesome looking rapier. It has some pretty decent damage. The silver rapier can be found right here, just a bit south of Melf. If you didn't take the route with the cart, you can just come here manually, but you can also come here at any date. And you're going to find another one of these campsites with a shack nearby, and inside of them you're going to find another one of these chests with the weapon right here. Now, if you want a strong shield with this, you can get the Shield of Vernworth. Normally this costs quite a bit of gold from a different seller that we're going to check in just a bit, but you can actually get it for absolutely free from these ruins right here, but it's going to be further west from the Vernworth capital. So it's pretty much close to the checkpoint town in the area. You do have to be careful because the enemies here are a bit high level, but when you make your way over here, it's worth it to check that item out. As far as spellcasters go, you can actually get a bunch of items, pretty good armors too, by just heading over to the Harv village. This is going to be further west from the capital, but it's also part of the creature culling, which is one of the first missions you get when you reach the capital. So since this is a place you have to get to anyway, you're going to have to head over inside this cave right here and save a bunch of soldiers. But somewhere around the middle of the cave, right here around this junction next to a wall, you'll find a chest containing the Serpentine Circlet. This can be equipped immediately by any mage or sorcerer, but it goes for some of the other hybrids as well, should you need to. You're not going to, but it can definitely be useful. And later on, if you just progress a bit further down into the cave up until you reach this area with some of the blue crystal sort of shine effect, you're going to find another chest right here at the very bottom with a very awesome looking cape for a mage. This one is of course called the Saurian Scale Cape. It works really well for that. It has some nice elemental resistances. Now, if you want a staff, especially for a sorcerer, I do have one, which is the Helical Archie Staff. You can find this pretty much south of the starting zone, very close to the Melf town in the area. It's going to be inside this hidden cavern right here. So if you head over inside, on the path to the right, you're going to find these doors, but they are blocked from the other side. So what you have to do is to take the other path to the left side, go up 1 level and go through the enemies. Keep in mind that they can be quite annoying. You have a few slimes in there, but once you're past that, at the top right here, you will find a hole through which you can throw some of the explosives you find nearby, and that's going to be enough to destroy those barriers below. Once that's done, simply head back over. You can now open those doors, and you're going to find a chest to your left side that contains the staff right here. Now, I do have some other weapons for you, especially if you play as a ranger, but also some nice accessories you can find right here in the Cavern of the Forsaken. There are 3 entrances to this. 2 of them right here up north are a bit less accessible because you will need either levitation or use a Theif with the blast jump to go over the gap. Otherwise, you can just access this from the area in the south. However, you choose to do this, go inside, and around the middle section, you're going to find this opening with a river passing through, and you're going to find a chest right here to your left or right, depending on the direction you come from, inside of which you're going to find this really awesome hunter's bow. Comes with some pretty solid damage. It's the best one, except the ones you get a bit later from vendors, and it can definitely help if you want to play as a ranger. It's a pretty awesome class, I will admit. And there's another item inside, an accessory, this time around a ring, but you have to head over inside further back from the river opening I just told you about. Jump over this gap and go right here in this very conspicuous room, because as soon as you hit this, it's going to collapse the floor, you're going to fall down, and right here you will find a hidden chest at the end of the cavern, which gives you this really awesome ring of exaltation. There are actually at least 3 of these rings of exaltations that will give you about 100 extra HP, can help you quite a ton early on. You can also find one very close to the guild's vendor, by the way, very close to the inn you sleep in back at Vernsworth. If you want to couple this or get a slightly better variant of it, there's a 200 HP one that you can find right here in this campsite just north of the Harv fishing village. So if you head over in this campsite, there's one of these houses. Inside you will find the Ring of Acclamation, and this gives you, like I said, 200 HP, pretty nice early on. Now, there's one more thing I recommend unlocking before you move over. You can actually have houses, your own house in this game. It's going to cost about 20 Gs to buy it, but it's going to be absolutely worth it, since technically it can cost a few thousand gold to just sleep one night at any regular inn, especially in town. So in just 10 sleep cycles, you will completely recoup all of that cost. So for the one in Vernsworth, you can get it from Mildred by talking to her. She's actually pretty close to that inn location right here by the side of this sort of tavern. Once you speak to her, she's going to ask you to follow her to her nearby house. She's going to be missing for about a week, and she gives you the keys to just use it for absolutely free. And trust me, it's going to be worth it. Sleeping here is going to completely not have any cost. You also have a stash inside. But after 7 days, you're going to be able to purchase it from her. It's going to cost 20,000 gold, like I said, but it's absolutely worth it, since one sleep at the inn inside of the city is already 2,000 gold. And besides that, another reason why you'll want to do this quest is because around the 2nd or 3rd day, she's going to give you a care package that also includes the Steeled Virtue Sword. Again, pretty awesome for a, well, fighter in this case. You can totally put that on your tank. Now, there's one more area which sells some very awesome looking and very strong armors. It's going to be located right here at the checkpoint Rest Town, so you do have to progress a bit in the game. It's not like the middle of the game, but it's also not too early either. So it's just at the right time, because you can go to this vendor right here. It's called the Celeste vendor, and this is going to sell you some of the best weapons and gear in the game. But like I said, many of these can be found out in the wild. I did not find all of them just yet, so this will be covered in a different video. I did find the shield, for example, nearby, so I'm currently looking for some of the other armors and things I can get for free. But some of the costs right here are not that big, like just 10 to 20 Gs, which by this point should be quite inexpensive to at least afford one of the sets or at least a couple of weapons. Like as you can see, by this point I had 100 and almost 40,000 gold, which was more than enough to afford even multiple items on more characters than just one. So again, really awesome looking ones. This is what you're going to be aiming for, but again, a future video will cover this, or maybe we're going to jump over these and go for something even better. Let me know down below if you want to see the free variants of these. In the meantime, totally check out my Ultra Beginner's Guide video that I covered a few hours ago. It has tons of tips to get the perfect start in Dragon's Dogma 2, or check the Theif guide that I covered just earlier. This is going to show you why this class is an absolute must play and possibly the strongest in the entire game. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.